kept posting, I kept doing it, but it was definitely like this imposter syndrome of like, no one's gonna take me seriously because I'm so young. But I just kept going, and you just kind of have to keep going no matter what. And that's, I mean, I'm sure you guys get this question all the time. I get it all the time, is like, how do I just start? How do I get over my fear of getting started, the judgment of other people, whatever else? For me, it was like, if I don't start, I know I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life, and I'm the only person to blame here.
If you've done a search on YouTube about how to grow on YouTube or how to make money on YouTube, you've definitely come across Catherine Manning. Well, I'm excited because on the next 2 episodes of the Think Media podcast, we have Catherine and Sean sitting down to do a more candid discussion about what it was like growing on YouTube, how should you actually start if you're starting this year, and so many great nuggets you can take away from it. My name is Heather Torres, and I am your host of the Think Media podcast, the #1 podcast to help you grow your YouTube influence and then turn that influence into a high profit and a high impact online business. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're brand new, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. You can subscribe wherever you're consuming this content on. So if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or if you're listening on a podcast app while you're driving, taking the dog for a walk, doing the dishes, make sure you subscribe so that you get hit with the podcast every single Tuesday, and you can join us on our Tuesday ritual. Well, we're diving into part 1 of this 2-part series with Catherine Manning. Sean and her discuss things like how you should pick your niche, how you should be doing your branding, and the mindsets that you need to overcome if you want to grow on YouTube this year. Let's jump into today's featured content.
In every mighty empire lurked a chaotic world of payroll and HR. Pharaoh Khufu had to settle for the pyramids we know today because the best engineers lived too far away. If only Khufu could hire and equip the talent he needed, who knows what the 7th wonder of the world would be. Whoa, that's the most beautiful pyramid I've ever seen in my life. The Aztecs were inventive engineers who created floating gardens. Meanwhile, Venetians struggled to grow food. If only they could have relocated the Aztecs to Italy, the country would be swimming in avocados. Mamma mia! Even today, companies still live in the past when it comes to payroll and HR. Christina and her team try to keep up with local changes in 30 different countries. Thankfully, they now have one partner to do it all. Deal can hire, manage, pay, and develop a global workforce, all while staying compliant. It's the only global-first people platform in history.
Oh, I lost it.
My hands already hurt. I'm Sue Bird. I'm a retired professional basketball player, and Symetra is trying to help me find a hobby in retirement. So today, I'll be doing this. Oh, wow.
I'm Jessie.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Jenny.
So mom and daughter, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that come about?
She started doing this.
Okay, it's your fault. Yeah, that looked intense.
Symetra wanted us to teach her a little bit about ninja training. So we created a course for Sue today. We're going to start with the ascending quintuple step. Run across the tires, a couple little agility things. Monkey bar on some ring, dash across some unstable block. Leap to ground, end up at the warp wall, and hit a buzzer.
I'm like, how?
Oh, dang it. So good.
It's gonna be a long day. Jesse and Jenny both make everything look entirely too easy.
Here.
Symetra, what are you doing to me? I fired at the match. Fuck. I don't know. I don't think I'd be a good stunt person, is what we're learning.
Stay relaxed.
And so for a second, you're like, okay, like the TikTok. You're like, all right, just swinging back and forth here. Like, let it go. How hard can this be? It's not that easy. So do you guys still compete?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to share with the world what's possible in your 40s.
Or 70s.
Or 70s. It's like I can have a super successful career, retire, and start another one at 60. I feel like she's the most inspiring competitor.
It calls to you, doesn't it?
It calls to my like 12-year-old self. The 44 is over here like, do we need to do this? When you start doing it, you realize just how much technique is involved.
Yes, there it is.
Good.
How much timing's involved.
Oh, that was better.
I'm thrilled that Symetra brought me here to do this. I'm an athlete, so you're competitive, and I was like, I'm ready for this challenge. But am I really ready?
Okay, you want to try the whole thing?
Yeah, thank you guys.
Don't forget to
Thank
breathe.
you.
Okay, you got this.
I think this is one of those things where if you're gonna do it, you really have to dedicate yourself to it.
Look at that. Keep going. Keep going. Spot the ring. Line up the hips. Nice. Yes.
The swinging, that requires so much strength.
Quick feet.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna come across something that I physically wasn't gonna be able to do. There's this moment of, well, you're just in the air. Like, this is just you up there. I just f***ing kill myself. Okay, I'm scared. The warp wall's no joke.
Focus. Take a breath. Yes. Oh, that was.
Felt really good. You know, as an athlete, you get to experience that immediate sense of satisfaction, and I haven't really had that since I retired, so it's nice to feel that again.
Sue was amazing, and to see her open up this whole new category was really fun for us.
I'm very grateful to Symetra for making me a champion again. It's been a while. How sore am I going to be? I'm going to be like crazy sore.
Are you sore now?
Maybe?
What do I wish I knew back when I was starting a YouTube channel? I'm so fired up because today on the Think Media podcast, we are answering that question, myself and Catherine Manning, who you probably know, but if you're just meeting her, she's a YouTuber, a content creator with over 440,000 subscribers across 2 channels. And she encourages creatives to create a life they love, doing what they love. She posts videos every single week on YouTube, tons of valuable content. And just like myself and the Think Media team, she's crushing it today, but she's made a ton of mistakes over the years. She's gone the wrong direction and learned a ton of lessons. And so buckle your seatbelt for this whole episode, because we're really going to be answering, like, what do we wish we knew back when we were starting our YouTube channel when it comes to branding, naming your channel, picking the right niche, how much gear do you need? What software do you need? What is a waste of your time? What's the best way to spend your time? And a lot of topics like that. And so, Catherine, welcome to the Think Media podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm ready to share all the knowledge today.
Well, I'm fired up to have you here. Before we dive into a couple specific questions related to the practicality of starting a YouTube channel, break down a little bit of your story in a nutshell. What has your journey been like? How long have you been on the platform? And what's your journey in just entrepreneurship been like up until this point?
Yeah, so I'm actually hitting my 5-year anniversary coming up next month, which is very exciting. So I started a blog 5 years ago because, I mean, we'll talk about this, but I was afraid to share my face online. I had picked a brand name that had nothing to do with me because I didn't want anyone to find me. And that's really where I got started. My blog, my website. I enjoyed Instagram and talking on Instagram stories. And I was like, hey, if I like videos so much, why don't I get started on YouTube? Plus, I can use YouTube to enhance what I'm saying in my blog posts. So I got started on YouTube 4 years ago. And, you know, I made a ton of mistakes getting to where I am today, but it's been a heck of a journey.
And so what was the turning point when things started to grow, and how long did it take?
Zen nicotine pouches deliver nicotine satisfaction anywhere, anytime. It pairs well with your confidence, your adventurous spirit, and your curious side. Zen pairs well with you. Find your Zen. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Starting your own membership can feel like a big step. And to tap into the predictable revenue that memberships give you, you need a platform that lets you run it the right way. Uscreen is the best all-in-one platform to help you build a stable, scalable membership business around your content. From day one, you'll get flexible monetization tools to earn from subscriptions and one-time purchases across web, mobile, and TV, along with complete control of getting your content in front of your audience. With sleek live streaming capabilities that are shown to boost monthly revenue by 2.5 times. And did I mention robust marketing tools to retain and nurture your members? Or that we're the only platform that effortlessly combines your video content and community? But don't just take our word for it. Justin Rhodes launched his membership with apps and doubled his revenue.
I went from $30,000 to $50,000 a month to over $100,000 a month with the launch with Uscreen.
And find what feels good, who doubled their views after launching apps, putting them on track for their best revenue year ever. With Uscreen, you get the tools you need all in one place to earn the stable, recurring revenue you crave. Start your membership journey with Uscreen today.
When things started to grow, and how long did it take of making mistakes? Like, was it slow growth for a while? What was the growth curve? When did things really start to happen, and when was it slower? How did that break down?
Yeah, so I had my blog for 3 years. I had YouTube for 2 years before I saw any real growth. I mean, it took me over a year to hit 300 subscribers. And then it wasn't until, it was really October of 2019 that I started to see some traction on YouTube. But up until that point, like, my blog was slowly growing. It was so slow. My YouTube channel felt like it wasn't growing until it just clicked. And there were a lot of things that I did to make it click. And then once I grew, I mean, my channel skyrocketed. 2020 was a huge year for my channel, and I think I gained like 260,000 subscribers in a year or something. It was crazy.
So encouraging, because, you know, we never know when that moment's going to be. It's like Malcolm Gladwell tipping point. Like, when it comes to doing the right things and sometimes not even knowing what things are right, there can be that moment of breakout success. And it's been awesome to watch your rise. I kind of want to start with, like, talking about, what do you wish you knew when it came to picking out a name for your channel? You were formerly known, like the, Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, as the content bug. And I believe you've kind of now gone to your personal brand name. I think a lot of people wonder, should I do a personal brand? What's a good way to name a channel? What's your journey been on picking out a name?
Yeah, so I got started with a content bug because, like I said, I didn't want to share my face. I didn't want to share my name. I even went by Kath instead of Catherine because the way that I spell Catherine is so unique that I was like, people can find me, and I don't want people to find me. I didn't want, like, my friends and family to find me. Like, I was embarrassed with what I was doing, which I shouldn't have been. So I got started with the content bug. Mistakes that I made, okay? For one, I wish that I would have kind of just, like, gotten over myself and went with my real name, because now, like, all of my brand is built around me and what I'm doing with my life. And I want to, like, lead by example and create a life you love doing what you love. Like, that's what I've done for myself. So having my brand be Catherine Manning makes so much more sense. But one of the mistakes I made is I did not Google the content bug before I picked that as my name. And that is 100% my first recommendation. Google it, because when content is connected with a bug, like anything digital connected with a bug is a bad thing. It's like a virus. So there was already this negative talk around the name that I was trying to establish myself as, and that was not good.
Man, that's great. And, that also reminds me, up until this point, I have a personal channel. I don't do a ton there, Sean Cannell. Think Media is just kind of a weird, we had this other project called Think International, so we picked out Think Media, and I just sort of stuck with it. And I wasn't applying any of your tips at the time. But as you know, I wrote a book with my friend Benji, and we started a side project called Video Influencers. Because that started so much later in my YouTube journey, that was the first brand we thought about. We thought about the name and a checklist of things we thought. We Googled it. Does anybody else have it? Can we get the .com? At the time, we couldn't, but we wondered if we could get the .com, and we purchased it later for a good price from, like, a domain buyer. Can we get the social media handle? So that's like another one. thinking about that ahead of time is related to the name. Twitter is limited characters, so it's video influencer without the S, but everywhere we were able to get it, and we kind of secured that ahead of time. If you are coaching somebody on like branding and naming right now, how big of a deal do you think those nuances are? Sometimes you got to just make a decision, but what would you say in terms of thinking about your name cohesively across all channels?
Yeah, no, I agree. So one of the things that I did is I went to like a domain finder, and like the content bug wasn't taken, so I just bought it without Googling it. So not only do all the things that Sean is talking about there, but also make sure that you Google it to figure out what the talk is going on. And you don't want someone with a competitive name or something that's really similar, because SEO, whether it's on YouTube or Google, that's going to be really hard. But oh my gosh, okay, when it comes to your personal name and the research you want to do, I mean, for me, I was so afraid to switch from the content bug to Catherine Manning, because my channel it was right before I hit 100,000 subscribers that I changed. I think I was around like maybe 80,000 subscribers that I made the change, but I was terrified to do it because I was like, everyone knows me as the content bug. I'm already established. My SEO is done. But don't be afraid to pivot your brand if you need to or if you want to. I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning, like they don't want to get started because they don't have the right equipment, or maybe they haven't thought through their brand name and they're like, I don't know if I want to be stuck with this for 50 years. You can always change in the future. Now, I don't recommend changing every couple of months. Like, there's no point setting up your LLC, doing all that stuff. Like, don't do it. But if you need to change, go ahead and change. Just make sure you do your research in the beginning, like we're talking about.
That's deep. And what's funny is as you're further along in the journey, I mean, we just made, I'd consider it kind of a mistake. This very podcast is now called the Think Media Podcast, but it started as the Think Marketing Podcast. And I just was trying to be creative. I was trying to make it different than Think Media. This is funny because we had a team. I didn't even really talk to them. They were like, I don't know. We didn't know what you were doing either. Like, what the heck? You thought it was a good idea. And then I was like, we're so far, to your point, youtube.com/think marketing, like branding, logos, and all this different stuff we put around it. And then I was like, it's going to be painful to change, but we knew it was the right decision. And now we're a couple months. And even it was like, well, why wouldn't everything be built around Think Media? But all that to say,
if you need a high-performance portable generator and an unbeatable value, check out Predator Generators from Harbor Freight. Whether you need a generator to power your outdoor recreation fun, heavy-duty job site tools, or to keep the lights on at home, there's a Predator Generator for you. Choose from traditional portable generators, super quiet, efficient inverter generators, and even multi-fuel generators. When you need the power to do more, Predator is as good as the best for a whole lot less. Only at Harbor Freight.
Those lowest prices of the season sale is going on now. Get up to 60% off thousands of items. Shop 70% off spring stems and 60% off spring floral and decor. Score BOGO deals for free canvas and frames. And all yarn is on sale. Plus, earn rewards while you shop.
But all that to say is, number one, if you're frustrated because you're looking back now and being like, shoot, I want to have it my personal name and not the content bug, or you're thinking, like, I already have momentum, I want to stay. If it's right to change, just do it. It's not that big a deal.
Yes.
And the future is forward. Is there ramifications? Of course. But at some point, if you know it's the right move to make, then definitely make that move. And branding is a whole journey, which also kind of brings us to finding your niche. Like, what is your advice? How do you find your thing? How do you narrow down? I'm multi-passionate, Catherine. There's so many things I want to talk about. And specifically on YouTube, does it matter to niche down? What have you learned?
Yeah, so for me, when I first got started with YouTube, I was creating my YouTube videos to help my blog posts. My main thought wasn't to grow on YouTube. Like, I did not do any research on how the algorithm worked, SEO, any of that stuff. Like, I did no research. I just dove right in, which honestly, great recommendation. Just dive in and figure it out as you go. But I was talking about a wide variety of things because my blog was talking about a wide variety of things. So I was doing a little bit of digital marketing. I have experience working in the digital marketing world. I was a consultant before I got started with all of this. So I knew SEO, I knew blogging, I knew Facebook and Twitter and everything else. So that's what I was talking about, but then also personal development. And it took me so long to grow on YouTube because I didn't have a niche. I didn't have a focus.
Yeah, 100%. So then when did you niche down, and what was your aha moment?
My aha moment, funny enough, was Sunny Lenarduzzi. I started watching YouTube videos about how to grow on YouTube, and I saw one of her videos where she said, you need to niche down, or you need to pick 3 main topics for your videos. So that's what I did. I wanted to talk about blogging, Pinterest, and then how I did certain things, because I really just want to lead by example with everything that I do. And I had so many questions when I was first getting started that I felt like I didn't find the answer to really easily. So I was like, how can I make those videos for any creative that's just getting started now? So I ended up launching a video where at the time I wasn't talking about YouTube at all, but I shared my journey from 0 to 1,000 subscribers, which is now one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel. And then I shared another video about how long it takes to get monetized, because when I was first on YouTube, that was the exact question I typed in, is how long does it take to get monetized? There were no videos like it. So I was like, when that happens for me, I'm going to make that video. And those 2 videos ended up doing pretty well. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 1 month. I'm going to talk about YouTube and what I've learned. And at that point, I had maybe 3,000 subscribers, maybe. And those videos started to do well enough. So then when I switched back to my content of blogging and Pinterest, those videos weren't doing well for me. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go full throttle with talking about YouTube.
Yes, success leaves clues even in your own video library. And so you double down on the types of videos that were working. I've heard you say in one of your videos, though, don't niche down too hard. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think I put myself in a little bit of a box where some people only expect one certain piece of content from me. Like, they think I only talk about YouTube tips and they just want that one thing from me. And there's so many other things that I'm interested in, as well as so many things that can help you to become successful on YouTube. And my brand messaging, create a life you love, doing what you love. It's not just your work. It's also your mindset. I mean, your work ethic, your productivity, just like so many different factors that go into being successful on YouTube. It's not just, here's the algorithm, master it, figure it out. There's so much more that goes into it. And I think I put myself in too much of a box that I can't talk about other things that I'm interested in. So I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but that's also why I created another YouTube channel. I also have a vlog channel, and over there, I just share whatever the heck I want. I just vlog my life, and it's great, it's awesome. But my recommendation would be, don't put yourself in such of a box. Like, I think it makes it easier to grow if you do niche down, but you don't need to be like, I only share recipes and that's it. There's so much more that you can do within whatever niche you pick.
I love it. And, you know, we've talked about naming your channel, kind of figuring out what kind of videos you want to make, niching down 3 main topics, maybe. What are your 3 topics? Put videos in those buckets. I'm also curious about branding. How important do you think finding a visual style for thumbnails, having a color, knowing at least your color directions, and branding? I've heard it defined, it's what people think about when they think about you. So it's kind of like your whole brand is sort of a collection. It's not just a logo, it's not just a website, but it's a lot of those different things. What do you wish you knew about branding, or what have been some of your approaches from the beginning that maybe if you launched a new project now, you would approach it differently when coming up with like a brand identity and a brand image?
For me, I think I did branding pretty well from the beginning. Like, I picked out my brand colors, my fonts, just like general vibe and aesthetic. And honestly, I've stuck with it. To this day, it's the exact same. The only thing that's changed is obviously my logo and my brand name. When I was first getting started, I designed my own logo. And then last year, I decided to hire someone to actually design something that looks a bit more professional, and I love it. But when it comes to branding, yeah, definitely the look and feel of, especially like your thumbnails. If we're just talking about YouTube here, like your cover, your banner image, and your thumbnail should look really cohesive. You don't want one that's super edgy and then another one that's like really soft and laid back and very like aesthetic and vibey. You know, it doesn't make much sense. You want someone to see one of your thumbnails and recognize it, knowing that it's you and your brand, and they're more likely to click on it. I mean, familiarity is such a good thing, but the same thing with like your brand name. If you want to change it in the future, change it in the future. What did I just say there? I don't recommend doing like a harsh cut of being like, oh, we were really bold and crazy and now we're like totally muted. I would kind of like wean it out over time. And that's something that I do with my thumbnails. Like when I'm changing into a new font, I kind of slowly go that direction, or even style with like where I'm placed in my thumbnails, the way it's edited. I slowly make the transition so that my audience isn't totally shocked and then they don't recognize my thumbnails and they're less likely to click on it.
I'm curious, do you have a mission statement for your channel or for your company or anything like that?
I do not. I just have like my brand message, create a life you love, doing what you love. That's it.
So that's a tagline. Would you call it a tagline?
Yeah.
So how'd you come up with that? Did you know that from the beginning, or have you, because, you know, I think there's mission statements, there's vision statements, there's values, there's like all these different things you could get into. But definitely on YouTube, you know, there's this idea of coming up with a phrase. So you have your phrase. We say on Think Media, our, you know, kind of main, where we talk about cameras the most, the best tips and tools for helping you build your influence with online video. It's that elevator statement. It's that tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always had yours, or how'd you come up with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it might have taken me a couple of months to come up with it, but otherwise it was pretty simple and easy for me to come up with. I don't know why. It just like stuck out to me, and I was like, I love that. I want everything that I do to embody that and to empower other people to just create the best life for themselves.
Do you think that's important? Would you encourage people that are starting YouTube channels to try to think of a tagline or something like that that's sort of a direction their channel is taking people?
Yeah, I think for me, I always say it's like your purpose. Like if you're just creating videos for fun, I mean, that's great. But if you actually know the purpose and the meaning behind your videos, it helps to give you more of that direction. So if you're ever curious, like, oh, should I change my niche or something? Well, does it fall back on the purpose that you established for your business? And for me, yeah, I'm talking about YouTube. I'm trying to help people to grow on YouTube. And to me, that's helping creators create a life they love. Like that's the goal here. But there's so many other things that go along with that. And that's why I'm trying to branch out of the box a little bit so I can stick to my main messaging, my tagline there. But yeah,
strong.
I mean, yeah,
staying purpose driven, and because that helps you prioritize, because maybe you shouldn't talk about everything or do this or that if it's not in alignment with that direction of your channel. Catherine, I'm curious, especially when starting YouTube, when starting anything new, but definitely when starting YouTube over the last couple of years, have you ever had any challenges with comparison or any mental battles of, is it too late for me to start when you started? Did you, maybe we all process maybe comparison different. Did you look at other people that were doing it? One of the biggest challenges we hear in our community a lot are sometimes people can spend a lot of time scrolling and look at what everybody else is doing and can talk themselves out of taking action. Has there been any mindsets that you wish you were just more confident or quick in the beginning and you didn't worry about things? Does anything like that come up?
Yeah. So funny enough, I think in today's day and age, a lot of people have the opposite problem with me. When I got started, I was 23 and I thought that I was too young, which is crazy because now like TikTok's out and I feel like so many young creators are out there, but I thought I was too young, that no one was actually going to take me seriously, which now I'm like, it's totally crazy. But I just, oh my gosh, that was...
So how'd you get over that? Did it keep you from posting videos for a while, or was it actually you're taking action, but also just thinking about it and having self-doubt?
Yeah, I mean, I kept posting, I kept doing it, but it was definitely like this imposter syndrome of like, no one's going to take me seriously because I'm so young. But I just kept going, and you just kind of have to keep going no matter what. And that's, I mean, I'm sure you guys get this question all the time. I get it all the time, is like, how do I just start? How do I get over my fear of getting started, the judgment of other people, whatever else? For me, it was like, if I don't start, I know I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life, and I'm the only person to blame here. So if I'm going to let me thinking that I'm too young hold me back, that's silly, that's ridiculous. And if I get started today, I'm going to be so much farther along compared to if I started in a year or so when I think that I'm older and the right age to start. It was like such a silly mindset looking back. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. But your other question about comparison, for sure, when I first got started, especially with my blog, I went to Google and I looked up other successful bloggers, and then I started following them on Instagram because I wanted to know what other people were doing and I wanted to know what made them successful. But then that quickly put me in the trap of like, well, why am I not there yet? Like, I'm starting from zero and I'm comparing myself to these people that have like 300,000 followers. Like, you can't compare that at all. And that was definitely a learning curve for me. I ended up unfollowing a bunch of people, not because I didn't like their content, but because I noticed it was unhealthy for me. And even when I switched into the YouTube niche, before that, I was subscribed to a lot of different people. Like, I was subscribed to Think Media. I learned a lot from your videos, but I ended up unsubscribing, or I ended up just not watching those videos because I was like, I don't want to. I mean, the word is influencer, you know, and we are really influenced by the content that we watch. And I was afraid, like, if I kept watching Think Media videos, then I was going to just keep creating your videos over again. Although that wasn't my intent, that was my fear, as my voice would have been too influenced by what other creators were saying. So, like, I had to mute some people on Instagram, and I had to stop watching certain videos because I wanted to be unique in my own space. And I knew that that comparison trap was it's not healthy and it's not productive.
Man, that's some really powerful advice, and I'm actually grateful that you stopped following Think Media. Not because we did miss out on the views, but I'm actually reading a book called Decoding Greatness, and we'll link this up in the show notes. This book is really great in terms of how the best in the world reverse engineer success. One of the tips is actually limiting how many things you're consuming. And it gives the exact advice that you just said. If you, especially in a world where you want to be different, where how do I stand out on YouTube right now? If you're just an echo of the other channels in your niche, then you're really not bringing something original to it. And we are influenced by what we watch. So if we can also consume potentially sources that are entirely different, like one of the things I noticed, I think in one of your videos was you brought lifestyle content, you said, to YouTube tips, because some of us YouTube educators were just educating and we weren't bringing that same flavor. But you brought originality, and it's shown in your numbers and your results, because it sounds like now we're learning you stopped watching everybody else in your niche. That's so powerful. So I want to encourage, that's a super powerful tip, as well as what it can do to your mindset, because having a strong mindset, having a focused mindset, most of us could probably consume less and create more. So that's some really brilliant advice.
Yeah, something that I did, I think I was following like 2,000 people on Instagram or something insane. I ended up unfollowing so many people. I think I now follow maybe like 170 some. It's so small, but I don't follow, now I more so follow more people. Like I follow you, I follow Roberta Blake and like other people that are doing our thing here. But it took me a while to realize my own voice to then be okay with re-following those people. But yeah, something that I love, I like to follow creators that make me feel inspired, that are totally outside of my niche. So Desi Perkins on YouTube, I think she's got like 3 million subscribers. She's killing it. She's amazing. I absolutely love her. Not that I know her personally, but I love her. Her content is fashion and beauty. I'm not fashion and beauty, but I absolutely feel inspired and just creative energy from her. So if that's something you need to do, like find creators that inspire you, not creators that you feel like that comparison trap coming on.
Wow, really, really strong. And I'm curious on your journey, especially once you started experiencing success and subscribers, the views start coming in, so do the comments. And I would imagine, I can't imagine you get this far without potentially getting, a hater or two or a troll. And there's all kinds of different categories. Not everybody who is critical is necessarily a hater. They may just be adding something of value. Some people are super toxic. Some people are mean. Some people are, I'm sure, crazy stalkers in your case, and all kinds of weird stuff that could happen on the journey. I am curious though, was there ever a comment that got under your skin, or a season where, because of feedback or comments, where it triggered a little bit of a mental battle and a little bit of just that you had to overcome? And clearly from where you are, you do not let these comparison or these mindset things hold you back, but that doesn't mean they don't bother you or necessarily send you off on different emotional roller coasters or moments where does anything come to mind as far as comments or seasons where maybe some feedback was coming your way that you had to build mental toughness and really overcome that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it comes with the territory, which kind of sucks, but like online bullying is so real. And there's a difference between constructive criticism and people trying to help you out, being like, hey, I would like you to showcase this in your video, or maybe your lighting was bad or something, like something like that is not a big deal. The comments that really...
But last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day. Businesses are wondering, what should we do?
I'm thinking company-wide power nap.
Anything can change the world of work. From HR to payroll, ADP designs for the next anything.
I'm worth it.
I'm worth it. It's a 4-word feminist manifesto. Because we're worth it. Because I'm worth it. I wrote that.
Big deal. The comments that really get to me are the ones that are making accusations, especially about my character. I do not like those at all. And a really tough season for me is last year I went through a divorce, and it was, oh man, I got ridiculous accusations of like, oh, you became so successful and then you dumped this person. And it's like, if you really knew the whole story, like it's people are mean, people are nasty, and it's not healthy. But I mean, that's why YouTube has comment filters. Instagram now got comment filters, which is so nice. And it makes it a little bit better if there's certain trigger words that you need to block or immediately have it go to like the held for review. Do that, because interacting with your audience is so important, and you don't want it to stop you from interacting with your audience. But I was at the point where I just stopped checking DMs. I stopped responding to comments on Instagram because it was so nasty. Like, people can be really mean.
Wow. And did you ever take a break, or did you just kind of put blinders on and keep creating when those kind of attacks were coming your way, attacks of your character?
I just kept creating. I mean, I've taken breaks, like 2 weeks has been the longest break I've ever taken, which when you're in it seems like the longest thing ever. But at the end of the day, like 2 weeks is nothing. But I mainly took a break just because, I mean, I separated from my ex, and then I drove cross country to LA, and I just needed to get away as he moved out of the house. And that break was necessary because I wasn't filming during that time, and I also needed that mental break. But it was never because of the comments that I got from people that I took a break, because at the end of the day, like, the number of negative comments or those like wrong accusations, there are 90 more comments that are way better than that. You know, like, there's more than that, honestly. And most people are rooting for you, and the people that aren't rooting for you, you know, it's not about you either. I think that's so important to remember, because when you're getting those comments, it may seem like it's a personal attack on you, and you may actually take it personally, when in reality, it could have nothing to do with you. That person could just be having a bad day, and they're taking it out on you, and that's really, really crappy of them to do, but you just kind of got to push through.
Yeah, a lot of times negative comments are much more a reflection of the individual than the person they're commenting on. Usually they're hurt, because hurt people. And you reminded me of our friend John Acuff was on the podcast recently. He has what's called haters math, and haters math says 99 positive comments plus 1 negative comment equals 1 negative comment. Oftentimes it's that one that we'll remember and think about for the rest of the day, and the 99 we glaze over. We're like, cool, thanks for the encouragement, great.
Yeah.
Usually this is with the like and dislike button too. You go, awesome, 100 likes, and then you go, but who's the 2 people that click dislike, and why they click dislike right when I uploaded the video? Like, did they turn on notifications so they can click dislike, or, you know? And so and it can be tough like that. The reality is, same thing. We wrote a book, and the YouTube secrets, there is literally like this verified incredible review. The 2 top reviews is like, this is the greatest book, you have to read this is amazing. And then the other one is like, this is literally the worst book. It is the worst book ever written. And you want to talk about like polarization and you're like, man, the highs and lows of posting content and putting yourself out there. But you're right. Typically, if you're adding good to the world, you're serving people, if you do the math and let the math speak for itself, there's 99 positive comments. Mm-hmm. There's going to always be maybe that 1 or 2 negative ones. You got to just keep going.
Well, that was part 1 of this 2-part series. So make sure you're subscribed so that you can listen to next week's episode, where we dive into more of the YouTube algorithm questions, how to grow, how to make money, all of those pieces with Catherine Manning. But I have some reflective questions for you based on today's episode. Have you picked your niche? Have you already decided who you're going to serve and how you're going to serve them? Have you decided on your brand, your style, how you're going to create videos? When people think of you, what do you want them to think about? And have you figured out the limiting beliefs the mindsets that have been holding you back from actually succeeding on YouTube? Are you comparing yourself to others? And what do you need to do so that you can move yourself forward this year? I'm so excited because Catherine's joining us again on the next episode of this podcast. But if you haven't already registered for our free masterclass, you're going to want to make sure that that is something that you do next. On this free masterclass, Sean is teaching you the one strategy he used to generate 57,000 views per day. If you want to learn how to get views, this is the free class for you. This is not available on YouTube. It's not available on the podcast. You want to make sure you register at thinkmasterclass.com. And I want to thank you so much for those who have rated and reviewed this podcast. It means the world to us because it helps other people just like you get this podcast in front of them. So thank you so much for all of those who have rated and reviewed the podcast. And today I want to shout out Lauren B. She says, I've been following Think for over a year, and they give amazing tips for beginner YouTube creators. All the content they put out is amazing. Thank you so much, Lauren. Love Lauren and B for that review. And I want to encourage you, if you've not rated or reviewed the podcast, make that one of your next steps to do this week. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in part 2 of this series with Catherine Manning.
Name a more iconic egg than Reese's. Oh, right, Cadbury. I guess it's a tie.
It's book your next hotel. If you don't book, it's a shame.
So it's resort.
Sweet vacation home for your next great stay.
Unique can you bring to the table? Because that's going to help you to grow so much. If you're just trying to be the next Jake Paul, he's already done it. He's already successful. Don't have that mindset of like, oh, it's too late or someone else is already doing it. Like, of course, someone else is already doing it. And if you are trying to find something very specific on YouTube and it's not out there, create it yourself. Because we obviously, like, YouTube has got so many videos. So if you found something that does not exist, you just hit like a landmine there. Like, run with it.
If you're just getting started on YouTube and you've typed into the YouTube search bar, how to start on YouTube, how to make money on YouTube, how much does YouTube pay me, you've definitely come across Catherine Manning. She's one of the top YouTube educators right now with her own style of how she's creating content. And I'm excited because this is a 2-part series we're doing with Catherine Manning. And today we're talking all about the YouTube algorithm, how to grow, and how to make money on YouTube. My name is Heather Torres, and I'm the host of the Think Media podcast, the #1 podcast to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. And today we're getting into a 2-part series. So if you missed the last episode, make sure to go back and listen to it. We talked all about how to pick your niche, the mindsets to overcome, and how to do branding right on YouTube. So if you missed that, make sure to go back and listen to it. Well, if you're a Catherine fan like I am, you're going to love this episode because she really dives into pieces of her story that she hasn't told before, what it really takes to become successful on YouTube, and how to actually figure out this whole YouTube thing, the algorithm, how to make money. All of that is in today's episode. Let's jump into today's featured content, and then we'll wrap it up after the content for some reflective questions and more.
One of the things you're big on is teaching people learning the algorithm, understand how YouTube works. You now have the results, you have the case studies, you a lot of times share your analytics. But what advice would you have on that? Like early on, is it a priority to really learn YouTube? And what have you learned about the YouTube algorithm?
Yeah, I would say from the beginning, for one, just start, okay? I've gotten so many comments in the past from people being like, I'm just trying to learn as much as possible before I get started. And I'm like, you need to get started and then learn as much as possible. Because I think you need to learn how, like, okay, what are you going to create videos about? What topics do you actually like talking about? What's your editing going to be like what's going to be the style of your thumbnails, all of that stuff before you can really use the algorithm. Because if you are creating what I'm going to call crappy videos, which all of our videos at the beginning are crap. I left mine up there. They're so bad. You can watch them. They're terrible. But if you are using the algorithm and you're trying to get those videos to go viral, I would honestly just use like the first 2 months as a learning curve of figuring out filming and editing and possibly thumbnails and all of that stuff before you really dive into, okay, how do I find keywords and where do I place keywords and all of that?
Got it. And you gotta just punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, press record. And you don't have the data until you've actually posted enough videos to learn. What is it? What is your advice when it comes to developing that initial upload strategy, a schedule for your content? If you're encouraging somebody, knowing now what you knew then, how long it takes to initially learn how to film, how to edit, you now do all that yourself, correct?
Yeah, I do.
But you had to learn it all. So how was that process for you?
Okay, so I got started with a really shaky camera that did not have a flip out screen. I couldn't see myself. I didn't have like a connection to like put it on a monitor or something to see myself. So it was really bad. Like the quality of my videos was just absolutely terrible, but it was the camera that I had. I thought it was better than using my phone. Looking back, I would have just got started with my phone, especially the phones that are out now. The quality of the camera is so dang good. Like that's all you need. You don't need any fancy, really advanced equipment to get started. Obviously now I've got lights and I've got too many cameras. It's ridiculous. But as you grow and as you have more money to invest back in your channel, make sure that you're investing it back in your channel. But what was the question? What were we talking about?
Yeah, like, I mean, just was it intimidating to start editing at first?
Yeah, editing.
Were you slow at first? And did you take any courses on it? Did you just, what software did you start with? Do you use the same software today? I mean, how, because it's very intimidating. It's like, okay, new camera, and did you just dive in and was it smooth or was it kind of frustrating? Did you have to persevere or what was your experience?
Yeah, so I had an iPad Pro. I didn't even have a computer because I started YouTube as a side hustle. So I had I don't even know what kind of laptop it was, but it was not a Mac laptop for business use. So I couldn't use that for my YouTube channel because that was just for my full-time job at the time. So I edited on my iPad, and iMovie comes for free on any Apple device. So I got started with iMovie on my iPad, and that was so challenging. Not as many features are available on the iPad, but at the same time, when I was just getting started, I did very minimal edits. Like all I did was cut out some of my ums or where I made mistakes. That was it. Like I didn't add any sound effects. I didn't add any music in the beginning. It was very, very rough. It wasn't until I have like an iMac desktop computer that I was still using iMovie, but I became a bit more advanced and I went from taking maybe 20 minutes to edit to 2 hours to edit. And now, depending on the video, I mean, I'm spending like 8 hours to edit a video, depending on how many features, overlays, sound effects, music, like everything else that goes into it. So it's definitely a learning curve. I didn't take any courses. I just went to YouTube. I mean, YouTube has everything for free. If you want to learn how to edit, go to YouTube.
And are you still on iMovie?
I'm on Final Cut Pro now.
Awesome. And we'll actually, Nolan Moulton, the Think Media team, literally has a 2-hour class, like you said, on Final Cut Pro, on Think Media, that'll teach you everything you need to know and more. I mean, he gets crazy deep into like color grading and all kinds of stuff. And so we'll link that up in the show notes if you want to check that out. And I think what you broke down is really great advice. Starting with what you have, starting simple and not letting even your edits be too complex, not letting anything be too complex at first, but you can level up as you go and reinvest in your channel as you go. And today you're on a Mac and you're on Final Cut. I would echo that. If somebody said, hey, Sean, tell me what computer to buy. If I was saying PC or Mac, I would say Mac. I don't know if you'd say the same thing. And I would say, I think iMovie is a good place to start at Final Cut because Mac workflow is more user-friendly. It's a nice, it's a great system. I love both. But if you're listening to this and you're like on the fence trying to make a decision, I think staying in the Mac world is the most user-friendly world. What do you think about that? Would you give that same advice to a friend if they are like, hey, I want to get a camera and get a computer? What would you tell them to invest in?
Yeah, I've actually gotten that question before. Is camera versus computer? And I always say computer because with your computer, like iMovie comes for free. So you're not only getting a computer, which you can do so many different things with, but it also comes with an editing software. Like I ended up getting Final Cut when I had my YouTube channel for 2.5 years. Like I had been editing hundreds of videos already on iMovie for free. It's a great platform, but a camera, I mean, obviously it's going to give you a good quality visual, but if you have an iPhone or something, just get started with your iPhone. Like the quality on that is so incredibly good compared to, I mean, if you have a nice computer and or not a nice computer, if you have a nice camera and you're trying to edit on your iPhone, I've done that before where I created a whole video editing on my iPhone. And it's so much harder to do. I would just recommend just like get the computer, and iMac is definitely the way to go.
Today you are Catherine Manning, and you were yesterday as well, but you're Catherine Manning with 440,000 subscribers and you're getting thousands of views. And you mentioned your first videos are your worst videos, but you got to just start. If you think through what's different about your videos now and you say, what I wish I knew if I was starting, of course you got to start messy. So I get that. Mm-hmm. But if there's some ways to level up our videos, what are the distinctions that go through your mind now in terms of making a video hold attention, average view duration matters, be more interesting, be more engaging? What are some of the elements that go into a Catherine Manning video that helps it get the results that it gets?
Yeah. So one of the things, I know we mentioned this, like level up as you go, but one of the things that I did is with every video, I tried to learn something new or just become better and better. And that's why when I was first getting started, like my edits were so incredibly simple. And then I was like, okay, let's try sound effects. Okay, let's try different transitions, and all of that stuff will come. So when I first got started, all of my videos, my camera was in one place the whole time and I was sitting in one place the whole time and I was just talking. The edits were simple. Very boring, basic video, but you all got to start from somewhere. So now I realized, like Sean mentioned, I really enjoy lifestyle content. And when I was watching YouTube tips videos, I felt like a lot of people were sitting in one place. Sometimes they had different camera angles, but those videos were we're extremely informative, but we're not that entertaining. So with all of my videos, I move my camera around a ton. I get a bunch of different shots and I try to make it more of that lifestyle feel while also having it be informative.
Yeah, I think that you might start in your kitchen. Have I ever seen you like grab ice and put it into an iced tea? Or so you have so you're almost weaving like vlog elements into something that's still educational, yes? And that's what you mean when you say lifestyle content?
Yeah. So the way that I looked at it is I wanted to like set the scene. So sometimes if I'm going to I've got a tea here, but if I wanted to have a tea in the video while I'm talking, I would actually have the intro of me putting water into my Keurig and then putting the tea bag into my cup and putting the cup on my Keurig and the whole entire process. And it is like a nice little intro to help you set the scene of how you got to me sitting here. I've also done the same thing with me, like setting up my equipment, showing that whole process and then hit record. And I mean, it's recording the whole time of me showing like the setup, but it adds more interest in my opinion. And it kind of captures people from the beginning, showing them your environment. So if that's something you guys want to do,
up and save at Michael's with our lowest prices of the season. Get up to 60% off thousands of items. Shop now at Michael's.
people from the beginning, showing them your environment. So if that's something you guys want to do, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and of course, check out Catherine's channel for some examples. Those elements are critical because they sound like they might just be fun and that matters and entertainment and that matters, but it's that average view duration, videos being more interesting that can give you an edge to getting a video shared in the algorithm and growing your channel. We're on a mission here to help 10,000 purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love on YouTube. You're living the dream. I mean, you are able to, you bought a house, congratulations. And
thank you.
You're doing this full time. You get to express, you've turned your creativity into a career. I'm curious in a second, let's talk about kind of like how you turn this into a business. How does the money come in? How do you pay the bills? Because there's so many different paths to that. But I'm just kind of curious, what does it feel like today with the success that you have compared to also maybe when you were in the struggle? Because there's no way to get to success without struggle or sacrifice. What comes to mind of maybe hard times when you wanted to quit? And then how do you feel today with what you've achieved so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So when I got started with my brand, I got started because I was in a terrible depressive state where I just hated everything. Like I was a really negative person and I was just absolutely miserable with my life. And I was like, it has to get better. Like there has to be something more out there for me. It has to get better. So one of the first things I did is I bought my website and then I ended up moving to a different city. And there's been kind of like a snowball effect of things that I've done along the way to create this life that I have for myself now. But yeah, I pinch myself all the time. And it's crazy. Yesterday, I was changing a light fixture because I absolutely love house projects and just like improving my house in little ways to make it my own. And I changed that light and I was like, wow, it's crazy because a few years ago, I wouldn't have even been able to afford that light. And it was only like $100. It wasn't much, but that simple thing that brought me joy, I was like, wow, I didn't have this even just a few years ago. So yeah, when I first got started, I mean, I wasn't making a lot of money. I got started with this as my side hustle, and then I moved into it full time, and I ended up jumping in too early to the point where I ended up going to massive credit card debt, and it was bad. It was terrible, but I ended up building myself out of it. In 2020, I paid all of it off, and now I'm debt free minus my house, which is such a blessing.
That's amazing. So you went all in without another job so you could work on it full time and covered your bills with credit cards in those early days?
Yeah, so I made the transition into freelancing, and I had a client take me on that said that they were going to keep me for like 6+ months. And that client, the amount of money I was making was equivalent to what I was making with my full-time job. And it was only 20 hours a week. So I was like, this is great. I can dedicate the rest of my time to building like my content side of things. And that client, after a month, ended up having a hiring freeze, which meant that they had to let go all of their contractors and freelancers. So I lost that income. So I ended up taking on other clients, but it wasn't enough money for me. So whatever money I was making was going towards my bills and stuff at the time. Like I had to pay for my water and my garbage and everything else that you got to pay for, and then all of my spending was going on my credit cards. And really it was like I cut my spending totally once I realized I was building up credit card debt, but still paying for like my email provider, all of that stuff. Oh my gosh, what am I paying for? Like QuickBooks and just like a variety of different subscriptions and things that you need. Like I wasn't buying equipment or anything, but just general business expenses like my domains, having my hosting, all of that was going on credit cards. And that really builds up, especially after a year of like not making barely any money. It was bad.
Did you feel like that was kind of like a kick in the pants to make things work? Were you super driven during that time? And, by that, because it was about a year of that season until was the tipping point of then making enough to start paying that down?
Yeah, so I had a tipping point where I thought that I was going to need to get another job. And I ended up going and driving with Grubhub. And that was a way for me to keep doing what I was doing. I still had clients. I was making very minimal money with affiliate marketing, and I had paid products at the time, but it allowed me to still do that while then also making some money that I needed to make. So I drove with Grubhub, I think for like 4 months until I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I would rather be working with clients. I would rather be working on my brand. I need to find a way to make this work. So I ended up taking on more clients where then I was making a couple $1,000s a month, which was enough for me. That's all I needed. I was making like $3,000 a month. And I was like, this is great. It's awesome. And then a few months later, my YouTube channel started to grow and take off. And I went from making that $3,000 a month to like $15,000 a month before I knew it. So it really skyrocketed for me. But like a real kick in the pants was I had my sister come to me with just like a desperate moment where she was like, I need you. I'm going through this rough time. I need you. And I was like, I don't have the money. I was like, I've got 2 credit cards that are maxed out. I'm not making money. I can't do it. And for me, I was like, I don't want to be broke anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. So I really got my act together, and that ended up helping to skyrocket my YouTube channel because I was so focused on finding ways of actually making it work.
Thank you for sharing that story. And so today, and even during that time, you've now built out a couple different significant income streams. And so what is it today that, what was it then? I mean, was it YouTube ad revenue was the first thing? And then what was kind of the journey, and what are your core monetization strategies today?
Yeah, so in the beginning, the most money I was making was with freelancing. So I was taking on clients and I was doing a lot of consulting. I was doing Pinterest work, SEO work. What I really knew at the time, I was doing that work for clients. So that was my primary income stream. And then I also had affiliate marketing. I was making maybe $100 a month, maybe. I wasn't even monetized at that time with my YouTube channel. So I was just pushing out videos without getting paid at all. I wasn't taking on any sponsorships, and really, that was it. Like I was not making a lot of money at that time. It was just freelancing. And then over time, because my YouTube channel grew so much, my ads revenue ended up skyrocketing. But also, I had laid the foundation for my affiliate marketing. So a bunch of my videos already had affiliate marketing links. I was already creating videos that the main goal was to promote my affiliate links and get some sales there. So once my channel took off, so did my affiliate marketing links. And like I started making really, really good money with affiliates. And then it ended up sponsorships came in later on. I waited a while to take on some sponsorships because I didn't want to do it right away. I wanted to focus on my content. And now sponsorships is another good income stream for me.
And what kind of affiliates were you an affiliate for?
Yeah, so I've got, at the beginning, because I was talking a lot about Pinterest, so Tailwind, which is an automation platform for Pinterest, that was a big one for me. TubeBuddy, all heard of TubeBuddy before. What were some other ones? I was honestly like very minimal at the beginning. ConvertKit, my email platform, it was all like products, and it was really the services that I was using because I wasn't really referring to like Amazon or anything for my camera gear or anything like that. So it was really just the services I was using.
And then once you started getting some decent views, YouTube ad revenue became significant. What does that become like today off like 500,000, 1 million views that you get a month today?
Want ads that drive results. That's why we built Roku Ads Manager. Sign up at ads.roku.com.
Today, what are you earning?
About between like 7,000 and 10,000 a month just from ads.
That's amazing. Yeah. And thanks for sharing that too. I think you do share that on your channel. That's a bold question. Like, hey, tell me exactly
how much.
And if I could have your social security number as well and your bank account number. Oh, people are on the podcast listening? No. So I love it. And it's encouraging because we learn that this isn't overnight. It takes perseverance. Yeah. It's hard seasons. You got to have a vision. It's cool to hear, a family member needed help and it was like, man, I don't want to be broke. I want to keep fighting for this. And it's cool to see the results that you've gotten today. What's the future? What are you looking to next? Personally, I'm sure you have your own business goals, but we've been looking at a lot of the big popular term now is the creator economy, which is what it's been, but now that's language that's being thrown around. There's a cool report that we sort of shared some details on from the Tilt on what they're calling content entrepreneurs. And I would say, you are one of those. And it's that there's some real language. Signal Fire revealed this is the fastest growing type of small business. So I'm curious, two-part question. What do you see the future for you personally? Because you're moving forward from where you've already arrived, but also what do you see as the future for those listening? And that, right now, of course, comparison, competition, YouTube being crowded. Do you feel like there's still opportunity? Do you feel like the next few years, this next decade, what do you think about the landscape of just this idea of being a content creator and doing some of what you're doing? Let's start first with what you think about maybe for yourself, and then how you feel like it is in general for other people. What's the future for Catherine?
Yeah, for me, funny enough, I was talking about this today on my Instagram stories, because I used to think I was going to be one thing. You know, at first I was like, I'm going to be a motivational speaker and I'm going to do that. And then I was like, no, I'm just going to be a course creator and I'm just going to be behind the scenes. And now I'm at the point where it's like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, because I love just being a content creator. Like, I love just creating videos. I love talking to my audience and trying to figure out the next big thing for me. I'm like, what is next? I'm not exactly sure. One of the things I've always wanted to do, though, is to host a retreat. I want to do an all-inclusive retreat where it's like, yeah, maybe we'll talk about YouTube, but I also want to have like meditation and yoga and talk about like food and like a bunch of different things that are also important to creating success for yourself. So I would absolutely love to do that, hopefully in the next few years, but we'll kind of see what the world looks like.
And that's powerful, because that's essentially, that's what's amazing about this industry, is once you get some momentum and you get some revenue and you have some influence, it is kind of like a canvas. You're an artist that can take it whatever direction that you want. Mm-hmm. Do you want to write a book, or do you want to host a retreat, or do you want, again, assuming you have some people you've built a connection with, you've got 1,000 true fans, you certainly have done that. And so the future is a place of abundant creativity. What do you think in general? People are just getting started though right now, and it seems crazy. We're going into 2022, and like, man, YouTube is no longer a young kid. YouTube started in 2005, so we're coming up on YouTube's a 16, 17-year-old, just got its license. Still living at home, but super rebellious, you know, mom and dad, I don't want advice from you anymore. You know, YouTube's like, and yet there's never been a bigger audience. But what's your general thought on this creator economy conversation, this being the fastest growing small business type, and what maybe encouragement or even advice? Because navigating these waters is maybe different than when you started. It's different than when I started. You're telling somebody who's maybe like looking at this mountain of climbing up in the creator economy and feeling a little overwhelmed, or feeling like, I want some wisdom from the now no longer 24 Catherine Manning. What can old Catherine Manning coach me on?
Catherine Manning.
She's been around. She's got a few scars now, and she's going to guide me. So, what are your thoughts on the future this next decade?
That's how I feel. I finally feel old enough to offer some advice to some people, you know? No, I think if TikTok has taught us anything, like, it's not too late to get in the game. You know, anyone can blow up on TikTok, and it's amazing. And I feel like since like 2019, 2020, I don't know, I've been seeing these videos all the time where people are like, is it too late to start YouTube? I don't think it's ever too late to start YouTube, honestly. And if I would have waited, I would have just been 1 year behind where I am today, or 2 years behind where I am today, you know, like depending on when I got started. So if you think about it, if you start today, you're going to be so much further along than where you would be if you waited and you had all the right equipment, or you had the money to buy the equipment, or all the information, or you took all these courses, whatever it is. Like, you just kind of have to get started today and figure it out as you go. But I think, yes, it's oversaturated. There's a lot of people, like, I'm not going to deny there are a lot of creators out there, but that doesn't mean that we don't need you as a creator. Like, we don't need another Think Media. We don't need another Catherine Manning. We're already doing it. What unique can you bring to the table? Because that's going to help you to grow so much. If you're just trying to be the next Jake Paul, he's already done it. He's already successful. What new can you bring? Like, you could be the next Jake Paul if you came up with something different, you know? So I just kind of think you got to get started. Don't be afraid. Don't have that mindset of like, oh, it's too late, or someone else is already doing it. Like, of course, someone else is already doing it. And if you are trying to find something very specific on YouTube and it's not out there, create it yourself. Because we obviously, like, YouTube has got so many videos. So if you found something that does not exist, you just hit like a landmine there. Like,
Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep Sale. Save up to $600 on Sealy. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night.
Name a more iconic egg than Cadbury. Oh, right. Reese's. I guess it's a tie.
You just hit like a landmine there. Like, run with it.
I love that. And I just want to acknowledge you as well. You know, I like, it's awesome to see you create content. Obviously, you are teaching things and sharing things and doing lifestyle content outside of this YouTube teacher kind of space, but you're also a newer YouTube teacher. And I love that fact, because you could have said, well, Think Media is doing it, and Tim Schmoyer is doing it, and Daryl Eves is doing it, and Roberto Blakes is doing it, and Sunny Leonard is doing it. But like, it also showed that even if somebody else is already doing it, you can too. Like, if you get started, you bring, and then you brought a different flavor to it. You said, man, everyone's doing it this way. I'm going to bring a little lifestyle edge to it. I'm going to bring my own style to it. In fact, I'm going to stop watching everybody else, and I'm going to do it in my own way. So whatever your niche is, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you could identify competitors. You can learn from them, but maybe you need to stop watching them and follow Catherine's advice and just be you. And you'll never know if you don't try. And really, even the data is showing us there's 2.3 billion monthly active users on YouTube now. The audience are more conditioned to consume content even than ever before. Catherine, here was a big light bulb moment for me. My parents, my mom, Susan, and my stepdad, Phil, weren't really watching YouTube. They never really watched my videos, but really because of the pandemic, they installed this projector in their living room that had like an Alexa on it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, my wife and I come over with our son, Sean Bradley, and they're like, guys, you would not believe these YouTubers we discovered. And I was like,
stop. You're on YouTube?
They're in their 70s. They're literally like, check out this couple. And it's this couple that covers famous songs and different outfits, and they sing these songs in their car. And there's like these montages. Maybe you've seen somebody like them.
No.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, did my mom just say you need to check out these new YouTubers I've discovered? So besides it being one of the most entertaining and amusing evenings of my life, and I was just delighted by the fact this was happening. My dad's like switches to snowboard stuff, like, hey, look how cool. You know, what it showed me though was again, more people are coming on every day. For some people, this is their first day coming on YouTube. We're now seeing the stats that multi-generation, Gen X, baby boomers, they're on YouTube. Of course, Gen Z, millennials, and across the board, it's this next decade is going to be the best decade. Catherine, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being here today. Of course, your links will be in the show notes, but just give a shout out if people want to connect with you, follow you. Where are you most active? There's your YouTube channel, and anywhere else?
Yeah, so I've got my YouTube channel, Catherine Manning. I also have Catherine Manning Vlogs. If you just want behind the scenes or just fun day in my life stuff, it's very chill over there. But also on Instagram, Catherine_Manning. Sadly, I could not just get Catherine Manning, which is a bummer. But Catherine_Manning. I'm active on my Instagram stories every single day. So if you just want to come hang out, that's where you can find me.
Catherine Manning, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, that wraps up this two-part series with Catherine Manning, and I love what she said at the beginning of this episode. She said, don't try and learn all the things and then start and then learn all of the things. So good, Catherine. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. And did you enjoy it? Let us know over on our podcast rating and review. You can do that by going to Apple, leaving a comment, rating and reviewing this podcast. Let us know if you liked episodes like this, and if you like when we bring on other guests, other YouTube trainers, other authors and speakers onto this podcast. Today's podcast shout out goes to Cray 8 Blue Skies. They said, genuine. Love the compassion to help others. The Think Media team really comes across as everyday people with genuine dedication to help others grow in the YouTube space, and really so much beyond that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm like, best comment of the day right there. That makes my heart so happy, because that's our mission here at Think Media. We want to help 10,000 purpose-driven entrepreneurs create a influence online through the power of online video. That is you. And I'm so excited that you're here and that you're listening and that you're a part of this Think Media community. It means so much to us that you rated and reviewed the podcast, and I can't wait to read more on the upcoming episodes. Well, if you haven't already registered for our Think Masterclass, we have a brand new free class for you. If you've taken some other classes that we have, you'll want to make sure that you register for this new one. This one is all about learning how to generate over 57,000 views per day away with this one strategy. Make sure you register for that class at thinkmasterclass.com. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this community. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're consuming this content from, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Ketchup, in my opinion, it's the epitome of where art meets science. Everything from flavor to color to texture is scrutinized. Am I a ketchup nerd? Absolutely.
It's tax season. Head to Boost Mobile and get 6 months of service free when you buy 6 months on the Boost Mobile 5G network. That's a whole year of unlimited service for half the price. Imagine all the savings. But only after you imagine getting to your nearest Boost Mobile first.
So success is the progressive realization, meaning this is your goal that you want to hit. This is where you are. As long as you're closing the gap, you're successful. The minute you stop is that you perceive it as failure, but it's really feedback telling you to pivot. So find something that is ideal, your goal that you're in love with, and just keep progressing towards it.
Is your YouTube channel at the point where you need to make a decision? Does it need to become your full-time gig? Are you at the point where you are putting in the hours on your YouTube channel and you just feel like, man, if I could just put in the time, this could go amazing? Well, in today's episode, I've got Ben Azadi from our Video Ranking Academy, and he's going to be sharing with you his steps to going full-time on YouTube with his channel. Now, did you know that being a content creator is one of the fastest growing small business types? And in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down how to make that happen. My name is Heather Torres, and I am the host of this Think Media podcast, the #1 podcast to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. And today's episode is brought to you by createwiththink.com. It is time for you to start monetizing your YouTube channel with online courses. We've partnered with Thinkific to provide you with the tools and training you need to start monetizing your audience off of YouTube. You can get started today with your own course creation journey at createwiththink.com. Now, let me introduce to you Ben Azadi. Ben Azadi is one of our success students inside of Video Ranking Academy. He is on a mission to help 1 billion people become healthy, and he's doing this through being a best-selling author of 4 books, including his new book, Keto Flex, being the founder of Keto Camp, which is a global brand bringing awareness to ancient healing strategies such as keto dieting and fasting, and he is the creator of Keto Camp YouTube channel with over 6 million views. Today, he's going to be sharing with you his 5 tips for growing his YouTube channel into a full-blown business. Well, Ben, I am so excited that you are finally on our podcast. We've known each other now for 2.5 years because you've been a part of our programs and in our community. And I'm just so pumped that you get to share your story with the Think community and all the things that you're doing. And today we're talking about how you turned your YouTube channel into a business. Tell me a little bit, Ben, about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, Heather, thank you for having me. Love Think Media, love what you guys are doing. And it's just a matter of time before I came to Vegas to hang out with you. So yeah, I mean, my company's Keto Camp. Mm-hmm. We're a global brand. The mission at Keto Camp is to educate and to inspire 1 billion people, to help them wake up and understand how amazing their body is. It's capable of healing. So we do that through YouTube. And of course, I've learned that from you and Sean and the whole team. 2.5 years ago, actually going on 3 years, is when we launched our YouTube channel. And we're focusing on educating primarily on ketosis and intermittent fasting, but we're niched into the ketogenic lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And as you know, it's pretty much niche, and a lot of people know about keto. So that's what we're doing. The company's called Keto Camp, and that's our mission.
I am so excited. I am a binge watcher. I watch so much of your stuff, and I'm excited because you came to YouTube and you didn't quite have a business yet. This was really the entry point into this empire that you're building. I'm calling it an empire, just so you know.
Yeah, I'll take it.
The empire that you're building at Keto Camp. So walk me through what that journey looked like for you. When you came to YouTube, what did you have ready, and how did you know what videos you even wanted to make?
So when I launched the YouTube channel, I was clear on what I wanted to talk about, which was keto. So I was clear on the niche. And then I just recorded 10 videos on the topic that I was getting questions about when it came to keto. Recorded 10 videos and just dripped those videos out, 2 videos per week. Now, in the beginning, the growth was very, very slow. I remember the first 6 months into it, I remember the exact number. I had 342 subscribers. Wow. 6 months into it, which is great because that's 42 people who wanted to learn more, but I had bigger goals than that. So I remember at this time being a little frustrated, having bigger goals than that. And I just said, I committed to posting 2 times a week. I'm going to keep this up. I'm not interested in doing this. I'm actually committed. So I just kept doing 2 videos a week, 2 videos a week. And all of a sudden, a video that I did called 5 Keto Fruits You Can Eat All the Time just started to take off. It went from like 10,000. I kept refreshing all day. 25,000. All of a sudden, it passed 1 million downloads in a couple of weeks. So after I saw that, I just started to double down with my content. And then the channel just started to take off.
So awesome. Now, I want to get into, you brought 5 tips and really your strategy of how you've built your business around your YouTube channel. But I need to ask, what did you start with? Did you start with an iPhone? Did you start with a camera? What did you start with when you started making videos?
I started with the old Canon 6D camera.
Okay.
Yeah, which I had a camera from 6 years ago. So I started with that and a lavalier mic. Yeah.
Nice. And so it was something you already had.
I already had it, and I had that camera for 5 years.
I love it. So this is the thing. You
Yeah.
got to just start with what you have. It's not about going out and getting all the cool fancy gear. It's just starting to make videos. And I love that you did that and that you made it super simple and easy to do. Well, let's break down your 5, I would say kind of your path to building your business on YouTube. Number 1 is you had a freemium. Here at Think Media, we call that a freemium, which just means something free to gift to your viewers. What was the freemium and how did you get it going? What did that look like for you?
So I had the freemium done before I even launched the channel because I knew I wanted to promote it. It was called, and it is called, the Keto Kickstart Guide. So I bought the domain ketokickstartguide.com, pointed it to the landing page.
Smart.
And I created a 12-page ebook that just broke down the basics to keto, just like the one-on-one on keto, with the goal of them wanting to learn more and then getting them somewhere else. So I had a 12-page ebook, and I started to just share that on my videos, put it on the description of the videos, and just share it all over the place to build my email list.
That's awesome. And that was number 2. You started to build your email list. And really, we teach this, especially here on the podcast, that the influence that you have online is not actually yours. I mean, when you think about it, your subscriber count is just a count that actually YouTube owns. But when you build your email list, that's actually when you go deeper. That's when you can have a one-on-one conversation with people that are interested in what you're doing. So talk about how you were able to build that email list. So you had the freemium. What did that look like? Was that consistently in every video? Was that emailing them every week? What did that look like for you when you quote unquote build your email list?
So when they first opted in for the free ebook, they would give me their first name and their email. They would get automatically sent the PDF download with a sequence of emails. So I'd have 3 emails that were sent out. Hey, this is Ben. Thank you so much for getting the guide. And then I would ask them a question at the end of the email and saying, stay tuned because tomorrow I'll give you the answer to this question. So kind of like a loop to make them want to open the next email. So I had a trigger of 3 emails going out, and every single day I would open or have this open loop at the end of it. On that 3rd email, I'll say, hey, I'm now going to put you into my main list. Expect to get 2 to 3 emails per week. Put this in your safe senders, etc. And I would just deliver value every week. Just a lot of free value, consistent value, and just developing this relationship with them.
So good. Now, the first question that comes to mind, and maybe listeners are thinking this, is, well, how did you even know what to put in the emails? I mean, did you come from a copywriting background? How did you know what the email should be about?
Well, I look at what you guys are doing with Think Media.
Okay.
and I model you guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I also read the book Story Brand as well, which I know you guys recommend. Something else I did, by the way, was take them off of YouTube to my email list, and then from my email list back to YouTube by putting a video in the actual email. So that's a fun way to get more views on YouTube. Yeah.
No, that's really smart. We do that a lot. We do 1 video a week that's just kind of the what's happening at Think Media. Because, if people are willing to come off of YouTube, they're willing to definitely go back if you have more value to offer. So you had something free. Where were you setting all this up? Was this on different websites? Are you in Kajabi? Where were you having everything live? Where does it live?
In the beginning, it was Lead Pages.
Okay.
Just because I started with them, and then I got familiar with ClickFunnels, and then I went to ClickFunnels, and then now it's on Kajabi. So
Okay.
most of it's on Kajabi.
And you're running your email through Kajabi as well? Everything through Kajabi?
Combination of Kajabi and MailChimp right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Way cool.
I'm kind of all over the place with the platforms.
I feel you. We here at Think Media, what we use right now is Kajabi.
Yeah.
But we're also experimenting with other platforms because we know that it may not be right for everyone. So there's a lot of different platforms that we're experimenting with different programs so that we can see what that looks like. But you have to pick a platform, right?
Yes.
You have to pick somewhere that you want to host all of these pieces. So number 3 that you did, so first you had something to offer them. 2, you built your email list. And 3, you delivered value on your email list. We talked about this a little bit, but one piece that you said that was really important was the consistency. Talk about that actually just in quote unquote real life.
Last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day. Businesses are wondering, what should we do
I'm
with it?
taking company-wide power now.
Anything can change the world of work. From HR to payroll, ADP designs for the next anything.
A Sweet Tarts rope, so sweet, you'll pucker. Sweet Tarts, dare to combine.
How did you stay consistent on doing that and making videos in real life?
Consistency is king and queen and everything in between. I mean,
Wow, that was really good. Can we quote that? That was it's king, queen, and everything in between. Underline Ben Azadi.
I really believe frequency creates the genius. Look, when I started recording videos, I sucked. And it was very uncomfortable looking into a camera. There's no eyeballs looking at me right now. It's just a camera. It's a weird situation. I remember doing live streams. I would see like 1 person watching, 2 people watching, and then 0 people watching. And it's just very uncomfortable. But you do it enough times and you become more confident. It's exactly what you guys teach. The frequency creates that genius. I just kept showing up. Again, I was not interested. I was committed. I threw my hat over the fence. I had to go get that hat. So I think that's important to understand because a lot of people are interested in building their business. They're interested in building their YouTube channel, but we want to be committed. And when you're committed, it means you do whatever it takes and you just keep showing up. So I did that on my email list. I did it with my videos and I learned that from you, of course, and Sean and the whole team. And you guys show up all the time and it's inspirational to me.
Wow. Well, Ben, you can be on the podcast anytime because this flattery is amazing. So I want to talk about it though, from the perspective of, I'm thinking about the person listening to this podcast right now and they're going through life. Maybe they've got a family they're trying to provide for in another career. Maybe they have kids at home and they're just trying to figure out how do I stay consistent? And I know you said, it's throwing the hat over and having to get it, but talk through that logically for me in the mindset that you have to have because there's days you don't want to get up and do it. There's days that no one opened the email, so what does that look like for you when you're in those moments?
Great question. And I know somebody's thinking that. We all go through it. Reasons come before results, right? Sean says it all the time. When you have a strong why, your how becomes easier. So I recommend finding out what your why is, your highest values, which is important and different for every single human being. I always say you're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master because you were given a gift that nobody else was given that same gift, and it's your highest value. So becoming clear on your highest values and then aligning your daily actions with that will make you unstoppable. So for me, I live by my calendar and I put on my calendar whatever is important to me and I say no to what's not. And that's how you end up just changing your life and staying consistent that way. I believe it.
Now, we're going to get to more points, but I need to know, were you always like this? Is this who Ben has always been? You were like, I see the thing, I'm going after the thing, I'm going to be consistent and send all the emails, I'm going to make the videos. Is this naturally who you are, or is this something you've grown into?
Grown into. It wasn't until I got clear on my highest values and started doing the things that I love to do that I started to do this consistently. But before that, start, quit. So no, it's not something I've always been doing. It's fairly recent, last 5 years.
Yeah, and that, Sean and I get this question a lot. They're like, were you just born this way? And I'm like, no, I was a award-winning procrastinator. That was who I was. And now I teach time management because it's the pieces that that you failed at that I think really bring you into success, right? It's those things that you look back on and you're like, I just couldn't figure it out. And then I did, and I'm just going to keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. And that consistency over time, doing half of it right is what actually leads to success.
Oh, so true. It's just about getting 1% better each day and figuring out what's important to you. My favorite definition of success came from Earl Nightingale. He said success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right? And
Say that one more time. Say it one more time.
Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. An ideal is an idea that you have fallen in love with. Getting 1 million subscribers, getting a gold plaque, becoming the best mom for your children. I mean, whatever that idea is. So success is the progressive realization, meaning this is your goal that you want to hit. This is where you are. As long as you're closing the gap, you're successful. The minute you stop is that you perceive it as failure, but it's really feedback telling you to pivot. So find something that is ideal to your goal that you're in love with and just keep progressing towards it.
Wow, that is really good. And I'm going to write that one in my journal because that's a really good one. Okay, so you had something free. You built an email list. You provided value to that email list consistently over years, right? I mean, it wasn't like you did it once or twice. It was consistently over time. Then you provided a free value class. We teach this here at Think Media, that you want to provide something that's even better, right? Something that's going to help lead them to the next step. How did you get to that point? So when did you decide, okay, I'm going to do a free class? At what time? Was that like 6 months in, 3 years in? What did that look like for you?
I started doing it about a year into it very consistently. So I would do like a keto diet masterclass or intermittent fasting masterclass where it would be like an hour and a half. So it's kind of longer than a usual one. I think you guys do like an hour and a half too.
Well, I do 45 minutes. Sean does an hour and a half.
So you're the concise
I'm
one.
within time frames.
I'm like Sean, where I'm like very long-winded. So I would do like an hour and a half masterclass, and I would just share my story. For those who are not familiar with my story, give them all this amazing information, kind of like a fire hose sort of deal. And then I would say, you know, if you want more of a step-by-step system of my coaching, like here's a one-time offer, and give them a whole bunch of benefits to signing up. And that's where I got a lot of my members to my academy.
So good. Now, when you were doing that free class, you were also then still doing emails, still doing videos, right? So it's like every piece of this is just another piece. I look at it as like Legos. My kids love Legos. We should invest in Legos. We have so many of them. But it is that piece, right? It's one piece on top of the next piece on top of the next piece. So it's not like you just jumped into making a free class, but that actually, we're going to get into number 5, is what led to the success you're having, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the whole progression of it, like you said, it wasn't doing all this at once, and I know it could sound overwhelming. It's just you do one thing, get really good at that, and then you'll stack that habit, right? Like the Tiny Habits book.
Yeah.
So yeah, that led to my Keto Camp Academy. Just like you have your Video Ranking Academy, which I've been a member of for 2.5 years, and Inner Circle, Think Media Inner Circle, which has changed my life. I have my own Keto Camp Academy where I offer the step-by-step system. I charge $97 per month, and they also get group coaching with me, and that is where most of my income comes from. And I am able to take people, really help them get off of their medication, their insulin, help them reverse diabetes. But it's all because of the structure that I put into place. So that's where it all leads to the academy for me.
Yeah. So then building the business around your YouTube channel was offering something to sell. We say you've got to have a buy button, and you chose. And in one of our trainings, we teach about the money plan, which means you've got to just figure out what is the plan to the revenue stream, right? How are you going to make money in your business? And the plan that you chose was group coaching and a monthly membership, right? How did you decide that that was the path that you wanted to go down? And then how did you, so at the end of your web class, you're offering it, are you offering it on your YouTube channel as well? Or do they only hear about it behind your web class?
They might hear about it on my YouTube channel. If I'm doing a live stream and somebody's asking me for my like coaching services, I would mention it, but I don't typically sell it on my YouTube channel. I'll sprinkle it in there, but not necessarily. It's very uncommon. On the web class, for sure, I'm going to sell. I want to get everybody on there. I used to do one-on-one coaching, and as you know, it's not scalable. I mean, it's great. You could work with somebody one-on-one. It's intimate, but there's only so many people you could help before your bandwidth is just spread out. So I wanted to do something in a group setting and have a system in place like you do with your 7-hour system with keto and fasting. So that's where the academy was built out, which offers group coaching coaching with it. So it's kind of a 1-2 package.
That's really smart. Now, are you, you're also an author. You have a new book that just came out. Tell everyone about that book.
The book is called Keto Flex, 311 pages of keto gold, I call it. Hit #1 on Amazon. The endorsements for them are incredible. And by the way, I wrote the book with getting people into my academy in mind, which is something that I know you're doing as well.
Yep.
So I wrote the book, and I would sprinkle in inspirational stories from members, and then tell them, hey, if you want to learn more, go to ketocampacademy.com. So the book, this is my fourth book, but my biggest book to date. Yeah.
So awesome. And I wanted to mention that because it's not like you created an academy and did a book and did all the things. And I think people don't understand that you've been at this now for over 3 years, right? You're at 3-year mark or about around the 3-year
With the
mark?
YouTube channel, over 3 years, but in the health space, 11, 12 years.
11 and 12
Yeah.
years. So the patience to make all this happen, talk me through that process. The patience of having to go one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. What's that been like?
I don't really like the word patience.
Oh, okay. What word do you
But
like, or how do you frame it?
I think it's important to have patience. I just don't like it. I can't accept it. That's what I'm saying. It's really my issue. Well, understanding that it's going to suck sometimes, right? And I do have a formula for success that I always share. When you start to change, first of all, you become a threat to people in your life who are not changing. It points a mirror to what they're not doing. So they're going to say things to you. Why do you want to have that YouTube channel? Why do you want to write that book? Like, who do you think you are? Like, why do you need that fancy car? So they're going to say these things because it's easier for them to drag you down versus pull them up. And your environment is so important. To give you a really quick example of how important your environment is, I don't think you know about this, but they did a study on hundreds of fleas, right? They put fleas in a jar, and they imagine this jar, closing these fleas in, and they left them there for 3 days.
Wow.
After 3 days, they removed the jar, and the fleas were still flying in the same pattern. None of them escaped because their environment kind of shaped their thinking. They thought they couldn't escape. Not only that, the fleas had offspring, and their offspring flew in the same pattern. None of them escaped in that same little pattern.
Wow.
So our environment is important. So when you start to change, you become a threat to people in your life who don't change. But also, it's going to suck sometimes when you have to cut ties with some people and go on camera and feel uncomfortable. But the formula is this: suck, 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 cess.
Yeah.
Okay, embrace the suck, keep pushing forward. Failure is just something that is perceived that is really something of a learning opportunity. So if you just look at it that way and never give up, you'll never really fail.
I love that. And again, let's take it back to what you said at the beginning. It's about figuring out what your higher calling is. What's your why?
Yeah.
Why are you even doing this? Because every day when you have to get up and you don't have to. I truly view YouTube as a gift. I mean, it's a free thing that if I just show up, I can impact people on the other side of their screen. So to me, it's not like, oh, I have to get up, I have to make videos. I think the language that we use on those things is so important. And so we get to do this. You get to make this amazing business and impact, what do you want? 1 billion people?
1 billion people.
Yeah.
Educate and inspire.
Yeah, educate and inspire. Well, my final question is for someone right now who may be at the very beginning of this process and they clicked on this video or they saw this podcast title and they were like, oh, wow, turn your YouTube channel into a business. And they're brand new to this and they just heard these steps that you went through. And now they're like, oh, wow, that's like work. That's going to be work. Or I don't know the next step. I'm not sure where I should go. What is some advice you have for that person? I remember early Heather, where I was listening to Amy Porterfield and listening to Shalene Johnson. And I'm like, what is an email list? I don't even know what that is. What advice do you have for that person that's at the very beginning of this process?
Yeah, great question. I would say to find somebody who's doing what you want to do and either pay them to teach it to you or get their free resources that are available, right? So for me, it was Think Media, right? I enrolled into your courses and you take decades of learning and turn that into days. So that's one option. Number two is that either you think you can do it or you think you cannot do it. Either way, that you're right. And we don't get what we want in life necessarily. We get what we are. And what we are the 60,000 thoughts that we think every single day. So if you change the way you look at things, you start to change the way, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So instead of seeing this as, like you said, I have to do this, it's I get to do this. And getting clear on your why, writing it down, why it's important for you to launch that channel, all the people you're going to help, and share that with friends as if if you already have accomplished that. Like you're super excited. Write it in the present tense. Keep it in front of you. Change your environment, change your thoughts. And it's just sooner rather than later, you're going to change your life.
I love that so much. And that to me has been the testimony of how we've built Think Media, and really where we're headed to next is really just looking at what we're here to do. And I can't wait to see what happens to your business. Where can people go if they want to know more about keto? They want to follow you. What does that look like?
Yeah, and thank you for having me here. I just love what you guys are doing. Keto Camp on YouTube. Camp is spelled with a K, so Keto Camp, Camp with a K. We have our Keto Camp podcast. We just passed 1 million downloads on there.
Wow, congratulations.
111, thank you. 111 countries. Like all that came from YouTube, by the way, because I didn't launch the podcast until YouTube got some traction, and it made the podcast grow much faster. So Keto Camp podcast, and then my website's benazati.com.
Awesome. And we'll link all of the resources that we talked about. We mentioned a couple books as well as our academy. We'll have all of that in the show notes down below. So make sure you click there if you want to go further.
Have you had your Hershey's?
First ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
So make sure you click there if you want to go further. Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And my question to you is, are you ready to go all in on YouTube? Are you ready to make your YouTube channel a full-blown business? Are you ready to invest in yourself and go deeper with us here at Think Media? If you would like to join us on this YouTube journey, you can get all of the details and the latest offer for becoming a member of Video Ranking Academy down in the description of today's episode. Now, every single week, I love to shout out our community members, the people, you, who are listening to the podcast. And today's community shout out is brought to you by winthisTech.com. Think Media is giving away a brand new YouTube studio, and all you have to do to enter is go to winthisTech.com. Fill out a simple survey that will help us know the type of content you want us to make, and you will be entered into win not only the microphone, the lighting, but also the camera, which is a brand new Sony ZV-E10. Just go to winthisTech.com, and today's shout out comes from Carol Knows. She says, excellent podcast. Think Media offers such valuable content. Thanks, Sean and Heather. So encouraging. Well, Carol, thank you so much for being here every single week to listen to these conversations and this content. It means the world to us that you would invite us into your YouTube journey. And Carol, thank you for rating and reviewing the podcast over on Apple Podcasts. Now, I also want to shout out someone from our YouTube channel. Did you know that we have a full YouTube channel dedicated to the podcast and content just like this? You can subscribe on Think Media Podcast on YouTube. And today I want to shout out Nikisha. She says, I love this. So practical, and I've definitely seen growth with some of these strategies. I'm coming off of a break, but working towards 50K. Nikisha, so excited for you, and thank you so much for being locked in on our YouTube channel and leaving that comment. It means the world to me every week when I get to go in there and comment back to you guys on the YouTube channel. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we will catch you in the next one.
One of the things that we have really defined as a part of this entire study is that a personal brand is not about what you do. It is about who you are. Like, I want to see what it's like to be the mom or the dad or the husband or the wife or the friend. It's like, I want to see you cooking spaghetti, not just flashing your private jet and your fancy car and talking about your course all the time. It's like, I want to see the humanity component of who you are, because that is equally as important in this decision to me than just what you do.
Welcome back to the Think Media Podcast. Sean Cannell here, and I'm excited for today's topic, all about personal branding and a groundbreaking new study that actually reveals some actual data and insights of why personal branding matters, why it'll lead to more revenue, more trust, more growth for your social media platforms, your business, and your brand and impact overall. And my guest today is AJ Vaden. Now, if you're just meeting her, she's the CEO and co-founder of Brand Builders Group and one of the world's leading experts in personal brand strategy. And over the last 15 years, she's helped launch and start multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses. Along with her company, Brand Builders Group, AJ has also been featured in Success Magazine, Inc., Fast Company, Entrepreneur, and Good Morning America. And this study actually revealed some super powerful things that we're going to be unpacking today. So buckle your seatbelt because there's a lot of value coming up. But AJ, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, so happy to be here. I got lots of things to share, so we're going to have to cram it all in.
So I'm super pumped to dive into it. I want to just kind of read some things, and I've already been looking at this study. It's super exciting. And one of the things that is true about the study, and of course you'll break it down, but this is a next level validated data weighted US census that revealed 74% of Americans are more likely to trust someone who has an established personal brand. 67% of Americans are willing to spend more money on products and services from companies of founders whose personal brands align with their own values. And even for bigger companies that are maybe, our audience is a lot of YouTube creators and really like author, speaker, content creator, personal brands, even big corporations are really benefiting from personal branding. And so before we dive into some of your insights and the things that surprised you from this study, what is your definition of personal branding?
Yes, well, I'm going to give you a two-part answer to that question because there's my opinion and what our company, Brand Builders Group, defines as a personal brand. But then we also asked that exact same question to our audience. It was over 1,000 Americans who participated in this 6-month process of gathering all of this research. But I would say that a personal brand simply is the digitization and or the monetization of your reputation. And I really do believe that personal brand and reputation are synonymous. They're not all that different. It's just a personal brand is a more proactive, intentional approach of expanding your reputation, whereas the reputation that you have is the more reactive. It just is what it is. It's by default, whereas a personal brand is that proactive effort of saying, this is what I want to be known for, so I'm going to be known for that. But it truly is just the formalization of your reputation in a proactive manner. Now, that's how we would define it. But we asked the exact same question in our study, which is, what is a personal brand? And this was really interesting because a ton of people came back and said it's content creators. Most of the people we asked said they're professional service people, which was not even on our radar. But at the end of the day, if you kind of like consolidate all these different things that Americans said, I think the easiest way to define a personal brand for Americans today is it's simply someone who is recognizable. That's it. Not famous, not an influencer, and I use the bunny ears there on purpose, but it's someone who is simply recognizable. So that could be in your industry, in your own company, in your local area, but it's just someone that is well known.
And I love, as we unpack this and dive into the insights of the study, as well as tips for building our personal brands, I love that you said, and essentially this could either happen by accident, because we're all going to build a reputation regardless, or we could be intentional. Or also, if we're not intentional, we may not end up getting known, especially as it pertains to growing our businesses into the future of this next decade. I mean, I'm so passionate about personal branding, but you're here with this brand new study. There's so much to unpack. What are some of the insights and data that surprised you?
Yeah, so there are several things that I think are really, really significant for the way that we do business today. And since we're in the business of personal branding, we talk with people all the time about what is a brand and do you need one and how do you get one? But here's the thing that we get hit up with all the time is that people naturally assume that somehow personal branding is directly correlated to social media. And that's just not true. social media is a part of how people hear about you and learn about you and learn from you. But that actually has nothing to do with your actual personal brand. And so what we have seen is that for quite a while, people have seen it as more of this thing that you do if you're an online influencer, or it's a vanity project. And what we're seeing now, specifically with Gen Z, who is age 18 to 25, the emerging workforce, it's no longer a thing of popularity and vanity, but they actually declare it a critical and essential part of doing business and how they make decisions. And I think that's the turn of events here, because personal branding has really gone from this thing that maybe authors and speakers and podcasters do to become more well known to, this is a critical and necessary part of doing business today. And some of the statistics that you shared are also ones that we find that are really important. Like 67% of Americans say they are willing to spend more money, not just money, but more money from companies whose founders have personal brands that align with their own personal values. So I'm going to kind of stop there for a second, because we did so many case studies on this very particular topic, because we're talking about more than 2/3 of Americans are going, this is no longer about some company or entity or organization who's just selling me stuff anymore. It's due to a variety of reasons that I'm sure we could go down a deep, dark rabbit hole on that we don't need to go down. People want to know who is behind this company. I want to know what their missions and values are. And if I like them and I align with them, I will buy from you, be loyal to you, and spend more money with you because of the person, not the company.
These are, you've already done a fire hose of insights here, but I'm a small town kid and grew up on a farm, 6 acres in Arlington, Washington. And it's funny because, personal branding, like you said, probably gets stereotyped or does get stereotyped in, it's influencers, or it's vanity, or it's about fame. And you're saying, no, it's actually essential. It's the digitization of your reputation, which I think actually everybody listening from any generation can relate to, because whether it's a small town that you grew up in, there was different characters that had a reputation in that town. Maybe it was the reputation of the guy that kind of always woke up late and showed up to football practice with kind of some like alcohol in his breath, my experience. Whether it was the guy, he's always got his Bluetooth earbud in, he's a contractor, and people know your name in the city. They maybe know what you do. They know where you work. It's kind of small town rules. Well, now that's been amplified by the internet. And it's an essential component of trust and doing business. I think about how important this is. I'm a millennial, but for me making decisions, someone was trying to sell me solar panels the other day. And after an hour-long presentation at the house, I was very convinced. But I'll tell you what, I became extremely skeptical when I actually started looking into this company's personal brand, specifically their social media, because those were my entry points. I was looking at their Instagram. I'm like, why is this kind of sketch and low quality and not communicating much? Who's really behind this company? Why is there such little internet presence? Why is the quality of their internet presence so low? I don't know if I want to make a $65,000 financed solar panel decision with this company. And what's interesting is I actually was convinced by the presentation that I wanted to do solar panels, but then they lost my trust because of essentially the personal brand. I didn't really know where the values of the company were. And some of those points could have been the difference, or certainly would have been the difference between me signing up and doing business right there or not doing it, which was the case. And I passed on the opportunity to later probably end up getting solar panels from Costco.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said 2 things there that actually were a part of our study that we said were equally as important. And 69% of older millennials, and I have to pause because if you go and actually download this entire study, we split the millennial age group into older millennials, which are 36 to 44, and then younger millennials, which are really 26 to 33 on purpose, because it's a vastly different, I would just say, socioeconomic, psychographic status in this older millennial, younger millennial. But older millennials, 69% of them said they will check out the online personal brand before they make a purchase decision. And I just want to pause about that, because I know so many people, and we'll just pick on professional services just for a second, because we're in professional services, so I can pick on us for a moment. But how many CPAs, doctors, dentists, lawyers just think that's not what they need? Like it's like I've built my business on word of mouth and referrals, and we're saying, no, you did that with the baby boomers and maybe Gen X, but if you want to stay in business, the future of business, you need to have an online established personal brand, because people no longer want to buy just products and services. They expect for you to educate them. They want to learn from you before they buy from you. And I think that's a really huge clarifying point of the importance of a personal brand in general, is that if you're just selling products and services, this emerging consumer buying power in the United States with millennials, which we already own it, but then with Gen Z, they're going, no, I don't want to buy from a company who just sells products and services. I want to be able to be educated and informed, and I want you to teach me stuff before I buy from you. And most of the time, that's going to happen online. And I think that's really important. But then on top of that, we even said when making a purchase decision today, what are the most important factors that you look for before you do that, right? So what are the most important decisions that factor into who you spend money with? And there were tons of them. Now, this is in the context of a personal brand, but we said, is it important to have a book? And does that book need to be a best-selling book or a New York Times best-selling book? Do you need a podcast? What about viral TED Talks? Consulting, speaking, training. There was a whole long list of things. This blew my mind, because I was absolutely certain that having a New York Times best-selling book or being a top 50 ranked podcast or having a viral TED Talk would be somewhere near the top of the list. Nope. And let me tell you what, this was so fascinating to me. This was number 10 on the list, and there were 4 things that tied for equal number 10. And Americans said that having a blog, yes, a blog, a self-published book, a traditionally published book, or a New York Times best-selling book carried the exact same weight in how they made purchase decisions.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
24-hour allergy relief that does not fade. Be wise all, take Zysol at night.
A second. A blog, which takes me approximately 5 to 7 minutes to put online with no thought or research, or a New York Times best-selling book that you will spend years and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars writing, editing, promoting, publishing, have the exact same importance level. But then, let me tell you what they said was the most important thing. And these were the 3 most important things by far and away from everything else. The number 1 most important thing that Americans said that they want to see about you in order for them to buy from you is they want to see third-party testimonials online. What? That's like the cheapest, fastest, easiest thing that we can be doing. But they say, I want to hear what other people just like me had to say about working with you. I don't really care if you have a viral TED Talk. I don't really care if you're a top host. I don't care about all the other stuff. But what did other people say? That was the first thing. The second thing is I want to know if you actually get paid by other people to speak and consult on this topic. And then the third thing is that you have a nice website. Those are the top 3 things.
Man, this is pretty powerful. And that quote you said, people want to learn from you before they buy from you. You know, we really help people build their influence on YouTube. 65% of people, Google revealed, go to YouTube trying to solve a problem. They have a pain point. They want to answer a specific question. You can create content to get in front of those questions and help people. People want to learn from you first before they want to buy from you. But now we can power up our personal brands by maybe they're doing research. They want to hire us for our client services or professional services. services, our coaching, maybe an online course, maybe book sales is the goal, or to get hired to speak. How's your website doing, Think Media Podcast? How have you got some video testimonials, some written testimonials? And I like, AJ, go into, they want to know that people hire you to speak. So therefore, we should probably spend at least some time maybe trying to get on some stages, would you say, in our industry, at niche events related to our industry? Unpack that point a little bit.
Yes, and I think a lot of this comes from perceived credibility, right? And a part of building an established personal brand is that you are credible in your marketplace. And that could be industry or location, but you're seen as credible. And so that could be at trade shows, that could be at conferences, that could be at public seminars. Those could be on online webinars that you even host for yourself, but then you offer those as master classes to other organizations. But what people are saying is that if other people are willing to pay for you to talk and consult on this, it gives me more confidence, thus more credibility and trust that you know what you're doing. It's this perceived expertise that's really important. And a lot of that too is connected to the third-party testimonials. They want to know that other people do this and other people are willing to pay for it before they do.
Man, so personal branding is the future, especially if you want to not just be in business today, but in business tomorrow. You got to be thinking about being intentional with your personal brand. Personal branding is highly profitable. And when we have built a strong personal brand, viewers, the study that studied people here in America are willing to spend more. So we also can charge higher prices, not a race to the bottom with our products and services, but actually we can be more premium because of that perceived value and because of that personal brand. And also personal branding is a trust accelerator. And this is the digitization, as you said, because now business is being done online, but people do business. The rules have not really changed. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so how do we accelerate trust? The answer is personal branding. What other insights do we need to know that this study unpacked?
Yeah, so this is like a three-part piece of information I think is really important. So 67%, right, of Americans say they're more likely to buy from you if you have an established personal brand. But then we kind of said, okay, well, if that's generally speaking, does this get differentiated if we segment the industries? And so we were super curious to go, well, does this mean more or matter more based on the type of industry that you're in? And Americans, through this study, said that they saw the most value in professional services and having a personal brand. Now, that is important to break down because this was not what we expected. We thought it would be consultants and trainers and coaches. Nope, it was professional services. And so as we dug into that a little bit more, we said, well, what about professional services exactly? Why is this such a correlation to having an established personal brand and us being willing to trust you, buy from you, recommend you? And so then we said, well, which ones? Like, help us understand. And the three most important out of all of the ones that we asked for, and it was dozens of industries or professions, but it was doctors, lawyers, and employers. So the person who pays your check, your doctor, and your lawyer. And so I just want you to pause about that because I'm gonna talk to you about our hypothesis around this from this data. And if you just sit there and you think about it for a second and you go, okay, let's hold up just for a moment because we're on this topic of trust acceleration. And that's really where this, key finding came from is we're going, actually, the connectedness between having an established personal brand and trust are directly connected with someone's ability to see you, know you, align with you, learn from you way before they buy from you. And then the reason this was so high for doctors and lawyers and employers were for these three reasons. And it's, you better trust your doctor because your life is in their hands. And you better trust your employer because your livelihood is in their hands. And yes, you need to trust your lawyer because your freedom is in their hands. And so what we really saw is that the higher the level of trust that's required, the more established your personal brand has to become. And that is really what we're sitting with here. It's what are you sharing to allow people to go, you know what you're talking about. And so thus I can trust you and I will buy it. And so doctors, lawyers, and
No, let me get the phone. You didn't say nothing. No, you did not. You didn't say a thing. I'm sitting here trying to, yeah. Well, if you heard her, you should have let me know. You didn't say nothing. Girl up there hollering. If you heard her hollering, you should have said something. I just fell asleep. I just heard you, and she ain't saying nothing. I hear you. Huh? Oh. Ooh-wee. Come, get in the car, please. Let's get in the car. Lord Jesus. What? Oh. Come on here. Get in the car so we can go. Now. Let's get on my name. Get on my